Welcome everybody to another Learn Squared live stream. You got Nick with Learn Squared here, and I am joined by KleinerHai, the man of the hour. Welcome, Kleiner, to the show.
Hello, everybody. It's really happy to be here. And hello, Nick.
Welcome. I'm so excited to be showing off this course today. Guys, we're talking about a brand new course that we're super excited to be premiering on today's show. It is called Sketching Everything. And we do mean everything. Kleiner has created an extremely comprehensive course. You're seeing some of the finished images from the course on your screen, but fair warning to you, it might take a while to see all of the finished images from the course on your screen because he's literally created dozens of images for this course, showing all different kinds of sketching, from the most basic brainstorm sketches all the way to finished color value and line art sketches. So this is a course that goes through a lot of subjects, and we're really excited to show it to you today. We got a great show for you. On today's broadcast, we're going to be, of course, world premiering the trailer for KleinerHai's course. You're going to see what this course is all about. And we're going to be doing a live demonstration for you guys. Kleiner is here on the show, and we're going to be seeing some live demonstrations of Kleiner's sketching techniques on the broadcast. So thanks to everybody who's turning out for today's late night broadcast. It's a little bit later than our usual stream time, and we really appreciate you guys being here. Make sure you post your questions in the chat because Kleiner is here to answer questions, and I'll be able to answer questions on today's show as well. And without further ado, I think the best way to start off the show is going to be to jump in and take a look at the trailer for the first time ever for Sketching Everything.
All right.
What if you could plan out an entire world using sketches? Welcome to Sketching Everything. KleinerHai is a concept illustrator and designer with a talent for creating immense, sprawling worlds. In this brand new Learn Squared course, he's going to teach you his comprehensive techniques to define every aspect of a project through simple, easy-to-learn sketching. When building a world from scratch, quick and dirty brainstorming is the name of the game. Kleiner will help you to create not just singular drawings, but dozens of sketched images at a time, each defining different aspects of your universe. Using Kleiner's signature macro to micro workflow, you'll start with the largest establishing scenes and work your way down to the smallest personal moments. Throughout the course, you'll learn several finishing techniques for your sketches, including full line art scenes, value sketches, character sheets, color frames, and large-scale environment plans. Finally, you'll separately design close-up details like individual buildings or animals, even down to the doors and windows used in your world. By the end of these 4 lessons, your pencil will be able to move at the speed of your imagination. On top of that, Kleiner is currently hard at work on a second course, all about his painting techniques, set to come out early next year. Your next project awaits. All you need to do is sketch it to life. Sign up today at learnsquared.com.
Guys, sketching everything. I think you saw what we mean by everything in that trailer. We really do go through a whole lot of stuff in this course. I'm so excited for you to be able to see it for the first time ever here. And Sketching Everything you can find right now on the Learn Squared site for pre-order. It is available right now, so get in there, get your pre-orders in, and get ready to start sketching. The interesting thing about this course is that it's not only teaching you how to sketch, but it's teaching you how to plan out an entire universe of sketches. So it's all about figuring out every aspect of this world that you're trying to create from all different angles and all different kinds of details that might be in it, so that you can plan out either a personal project or work on a larger scale project. And I'm going to ask Kleiner a question here before we get the show started here. Kleiner, what is it like creating all of these amazing sketches? Like how do you go about it? How do you start when you're planning a sketch?
I mean, I like to play a lot of game, and I've seen a lot of animation stuff. So there's have a lot of awesome and impressive world view. and it just takes me feel that I really want to do that, but I did not know at first like how to do the word building or how to do the IP develop. I just start like couple of brainstorm, couple of like concept art or just painting sketch over there. It's just pretty relaxed to do that as
And kind
because
of like
I
going
don't
from
like
there
to
and creating like this larger
yeah
larger project. And
yeah
it's so cool to see like that you guys are seeing it on your screen that things are going by, and there's all different levels of like finishing methods for the sketching as well. So we show off like Kleiner shows how to do these very basic brainstorm sketches that he creates in like a very short amount of time. Like these ones are some of the brainstorm sketches that appear in the course that he creates, in bulk, like multiple ones on a page, sometimes 4 on a page. That'll be created in like a matter of minutes. Like maybe 10 minutes a sketch, I think. It's so impressive, like the speed of the processes and the workflows that are being created here. So it's kind of this method that like unlocks people's ability to work at a faster level, at a more efficient level, and just plan out a world. Like you're seeing this one here of a market, and you get all different views of that market, and you can see the different details that are there. Planning out a bar scene like this one, it is pretty incredible to see these processes in action. And we're going to be taking a look at a live demonstration of those processes on today's show. Welcome Alejandra de la Cruz into the show. We are just kicking off our broadcast of Sketching Everything, and we are super excited to be showing it to you guys. Welcome Alejandra in the show. And guys, just to let you know, during the show, we're going to be doing this demonstration here. And in order to give Kleiner kind of a little bit more opportunity to concentrate on the artwork, Kleiner has requested that maybe I would kind of field a little bit more of the questions and maybe take some of the pressure off to have to, answer every single question in the English language. And just so you know, if you guys have any questions, make sure you post them in the chat. I might be answering them for Kleiner, but I know everything about the course. Of course, I've seen everything in it, and I did the full English dub of this course. So when you take the course yourself, you'll actually be hearing my voice standing in for Kleiner. I hope I do you justice, Kleiner. I hope that it sounds good. But we're going to jump over here, and we're going to take a look at Kleiner's screen, and we're going to start on our live demonstration.
all right, so you see my screen.
We can see the screen, and we got
Is
some
that
references on the side. We got
clear?
we have a frame here, and I'm excited to see what you come up with.
Right, so let's just start some casual brainstorm, I guess. Basically, we start with the different corner or different perspective. Maybe we start with the bird view. So
And so the different views are a big thing in the course. One interesting thing that that I found from the sketching process is like you're creating these environment views as there's a couple of lessons that actually focus specifically on environments and like different scales of environments and things. And Kleiner is showing like really how to just very quickly come up with super dynamic angles and ideas for things to show, and be able to show these different scales of environments that communicate all of these things about your world. So, for example, if you're trying to show what it is like
a bird view, top view there in a street. So, I mean, the street is gonna have the building, and also you have crowd, a lot of stuff over there, and so that has a lot of stuff. So we need to think about that, what that gonna look. Maybe not detail too much detail, but we need to do a little bit brainstorm with that. Like just a little bit store people and different kind of thing. Let me just
And so,
start here.
like, going through here, what makes you choose to approach this from like a bird's eye view for your first sketch? Like, where do you want to kind of get like an
Um,
overhead perspective on everything and just get a feel for it?
I think I like to do a lot. I have to do a lot of kind of like the street view or the street brainstorm, street sketches, and the most strong and the most I think is pretty awesome view is just bird view, because you can see this camera view, like it can include a lot of things over there, like old people just stand there or some kind of different store over there. So there's gonna have a lot of thing. Maybe just kind of like just smaller type, but
Yeah, like be able to kind of get an overhead perspective, literally an
yeah,
overhead perspective of the scene. And
but
that
don't
is really
yeah yeah
definitely
yeah
useful to have. And so in the course, one of the things that's really interesting is that so when a lot of people approach creating concept art or creating, these kinds of images, they're trying to work towards creating a singular image, to continuously refine and plan out that image and continuously refine it and add more detail, and then they would have like a singular image that conveys something about their project. But
yeah
what's really interesting about what Kleiner does in this course is that it's not about actually creating one image. Like, there's not a single image in the course that's like the image that the course is building towards. The course is about creating a picture of your world through the process of creating many images. So using sketching and like kind of teaching you to sketch faster and sketch looser and kind of like be more free with your ideas, it allows you to start to really build this vision of the world you're trying to create without having to focus on creating a single image. Because kind of the thesis of this course is that by creating all of these images that combine into, to create this larger picture of your world, you're getting a more vivid understanding of what that world is like than you ever could have gotten with a single image. And as you
yes
saw, I'm going to cut back to the slideshow of various things from the course. As we kind of go through these pictures, you can see that earlier we had a shot of kids that are hanging out in the back of a school. That was like a bunch of pedestrians who are just hanging out on the streets. We have scenes like from the dock from various angles showing like an overhead view, shots from the boats, shots of kids playing on the sand. You're seeing like people who are hanging out on the edge of the docks. We have character sheets of what the different characters look like. All of these things are planning a project in such a way that it is more than just what you would get with a single sketch or with a single kind of like finished piece of key art or finished concept design, because it is designing everything from all different angles and all different perspectives in such a way that it allows you to, like, if you were, for example, making a comic book, or you're making a short film, or you're making a video game, or you're trying to just plan out some like paintings as a part of a larger like IP that you're making as like a personal project, you are able to define all these things very quickly by just creating these very quick and very efficient sketches. And I think that's so impressive. Uh, Kleiner, I actually counted how many sketches you made for this course. And even if you only count the big plan pictures that have all the details and stuff, even if you just count those as one sketch, in total, this course has 38 sketches, like 38 images that you created for the course. That's pretty
I
amazing.
did not kind of, yeah.
That's
I think that doing the world building, it needs a lot of information over there. So you need to take time to think about, am I to do some brainstorm or do some concept with each different thing? It's
y-
not just doing it just one painting or one illustration.
exactly. It requires a deeper understanding. And one of the things in the course that is really really useful is that, and I'm going to jump back to Kleiner's screen here so we can see what Kleiner's doing while I'm talking. But one of the things from the course that is really, really useful is that there's a section of the course that actually goes into planning, like how are you going to approach creating your world through these sketches, and it goes through like real world projects that have already happened, that have already been created. Kleiner shows like concept art from movies and from video games, going into specific examples like what did Weta Workshop do when they had to sketch things for Lord of the Rings? What did Irrational Games do when they had to sketch things for BioShock? And what is important based on the type of project you're making? What kind of sketches would you need for that project? So looking into things like maybe if you're doing a comic book, it's more important to have to make sure that you have the characters really defined because in a movie, you can just cast a real person. You don't need to figure out what it looks like when they smile and when they frown and when they look up and when they look down. But in a comic book or an animation, you actually have to figure out all of those things very specifically because that person only exists based on what you're drawing. Or if you're making a movie, maybe it's more important to have to focus on the costumes when you're sketching and really be able to kind of plan out like exactly what you need for your projects. Before you jump in, and then just showing you kind of going off and showing you this incredible wealth of techniques. We have Pashi joining the show. Welcome, Pashi, to the show, saying hello. Well, hello, Pashi. Welcome. Pashi saying, I would say that Kleiner has some influence from Mobius. And
Yeah,
I'm going to throw that to you, Kleiner, because Kleiner in the course talks a lot about Mobius. I think he's one of your big influences.
yeah, yes. He's a legendary
Well, I think
master.
we should all aspire to have some influence from Mobius.
Yeah. He
But
just can do everything.
yeah, it's an incredible style, and the Kleiner goes through a lot of his influences. I think that's another really important aspect of the course is kind of going through and talking about which artists influence Kleiner. And Kleiner, name drops a lot of particular artists and shows their exact styles. Abano, who does stuff for the Final Fantasy games, and looking a lot at Mobius, looking a lot at Studio Ghibli and Miyazaki's work,
Yeah,
and seeing how these different artists approach their different types of art that they're creating. And one of the things that we kind of focus on in the course as well is talking about how Mobius and Miyazaki and Amano and all these different artists have totally different art styles, but what the course is teaching you to do is to still preserve the style of art that you use. Like if you have a personal style that's like important to you and it's important to the way you create art, that's going to be preserved. And your kind of what Kleiner is teaching is how to apply your personal style to this extremely efficient method of sketching. And it's going to really help you to number one, establish a style if you're a beginner, or if you're an expert, to apply your style to all of these different types of art and really think on a macro scale. So we have Kleiner's already deep into making this the first of these brainstorm sketches, which is looking awesome, Kleiner. I'm really excited. But I think
thank
it's
you, man.
time to talk about the course again. For anybody who's just joining the show, the course that we're talking about today is called Sketching Everything. This is our newest course
Yeah,
with instructor KleinerHai. You're seeing some of the images from the course on screen. Kleiner has created a total of 38 images for this course. I think that's the most images that's created for any Learn Squared course. And showing how to do all different types of sketching from the most beginner techniques to the most expert techniques, going through a whole list of sketching styles, going through a whole list of subjects that you can sketch, talking about how to do brainstorm sketching, value sketching, line art, color sketches, all different kinds of things, showing how to do animals and environments and characters and costumes. Anything you can think of, it's covered in the course. And that's why we called it Sketching Everything. So this is available on the Learn Squared site right now. Make sure you guys go check that out. You can pre-order Sketching Everything right now on the Learn Squared site. And we haven't talked about this on the stream yet, but Kleiner is hard at work on a second course, which is all about painting. So it is a natural continuation of this in the sense that if you want to continue your sketches and turn them into paintings, that's going to show you how to do that. If you want to just create a painting from scratch, you can do that too. And that second course, Painting Everything, is actually in a bundle that you can get on the Learn Squared site right now. If you want to pre-order those two together, you'll actually save on that. You'll save 20% by pre-ordering the two courses together. But either way, Sketching Everything, as you can see on your screen, it just has an incredible, huge amount of work that's been done for it, showing every type of sketching from the most beginner to the most expert. So we are going to take a look at the course trailer here. For anybody who's just joining the show who wants to get a better explanation of the course than I could ever give, let's take a look at that course trailer one more time. Enjoy, guys. Sketching Everything.
What if you could plan out an entire world using sketches? Welcome to Sketching Everything. KleinerHai is a concept illustrator and designer with a talent for creating immense, sprawling worlds. In this brand new Learn Squared course, he's going to teach you his comprehensive techniques to define every aspect of a project through simple, easy-to-learn sketching. When building a world from scratch, quick and dirty brainstorming is the name of the game. Kleiner will help you to create not just singular drawings, but dozens of sketched images at a time, each defining different aspects of your universe. Using Kleiner's signature macro to micro workflow, you'll start with the largest establishing scenes and work your way down to the smallest personal moments. Throughout the course, you'll learn several finishing techniques for your sketches, including full line art scenes, value sketches, character sheets, color frames, and large-scale environment plans. Finally, you'll separately design close-up details like individual buildings or animals, even down to the doors and windows used in your world. By the end of these 4 lessons, your pencil will be able to move at the speed of your imagination. On top of that, Kleiner is currently hard at work on a second course, all about his painting techniques, set to come out early next year. Your next project awaits. All you need to do is sketch it to life. Sign up today at learnsquared.com.
Guys, Sketching Everything, you just saw the trailer there. One more time, it is an amazing course. I've seen everything in this course, and I was blown away by the amount of content. And also, fun fact, if you like hearing my voice, hopefully you do, I actually did the entire English dub for this course, so you'll be hearing plenty of my voice if you when you take the course. So get excited for that. Hopefully you like it. And we have a bunch of people in the chat here. Ivanjo Marquez, welcome to the show, saying thank you for this stream. Thank you, Ivanjo Marquez. Thank you for joining the show, and we're really glad to be premiering Kleiner's course. It's just so much incredible work. It's so approachable. It shows off so many techniques. This is a course that can really apply to anyone, from the most absolute beginner to experts. You know, it means something different to everybody. If you're a beginner, it's going to help you to establish a style and to just kind of get loose and get kind of like out of your comfort zone and just really start making sketches without being sort of feeling self-conscious about them, which is so important to any of us who have tried to, you know, start on our artistic journeys. We all know that feeling. And so it's going to help people with that. But even for intermediate or expert users, this is really going to help a lot of us to sort of like speed up our process and think on a larger scale. A lot of us are not used to having to plan out an entire world full of designs. You know, a lot of us might be focusing more on particular images that we're trying to create, like a piece of key art, but not really worrying about all of the details and all of the different aspects of our world. So even for people who are the most expert at like technically creating their sketches, it is going to help on a totally different level to create this kind of macro scale, huge volume of content in a very quick amount of time. And as you will see across the length of this stream, you'll get an impression of just how quickly you are able to iterate and create these sketches. Pashy saying such cool drawings. Thank you, Pashy. And Kleiner, very cool drawings. Pashy likes your drawings.
Oh yes, thank you, man. Very glad.
Life 2
Appreciate
is saying, how long will the pre-order be open? So that's a great question. I didn't mention that the release date for the course is October 13th. So you guys have a couple of weeks to get in there, get your pre-orders in, and you will be able to take the course on October 13th, 2023. Get excited, guys. Once again, the course is available right now for pre-order on the Learn Squared site. You can find it. We'll actually get somebody to post a link in the chat there so that you guys can just go directly to that link. And you can find that on the Learn Squared site right now. You can pre-order the course right now, and you can even pre-order a course bundle that includes Sketching Everything and Kleiner's follow-up course, Painting Everything. And you'll have both of those when they come out, and you'll save 20%. That's a lot of content. Kleiner has completely outdone himself in terms of the incredible amount of content that has been created for the course. Now, the amount of stuff on here that you're seeing on screen is just amazing. All of these pictures have been created during the events of the course that you're seeing on screen. Is a total of 38 sketches, and if you itemize those, it would be even more. A lot of these pages are only counted as one sketch, so there's a lot of content from here. Now, Pashy has a great question here, talking about that the course looks so cool, right. And I'm going to just jump over to your screen, Kleiner, so we can watch you while we're talking here.
All right.
Pashy saying, the course looks so cool. Does it cover a lot about storytelling and world building, or is it mostly focused on drawing techniques? And that's a great question. Thank you so much for the question. I'm going to remind you guys, too, that in order to allow Kleiner to focus more on creating the art and also to not have to bombard him with a million English language questions, I'm going to be fielding a few more of the questions than I might normally do on a stream. But, of course, I've seen everything in the course. And as I mentioned, I did the English language dub for the course. So I am very familiar with all the content in it. So to answer that question, it does cover a lot about storytelling and world building. The course is actually particularly about how to kind of make your own IP with sketches. So it's not only thinking about the sketching process and the technical aspects of sketching, it does go over things like, how to draw human figures and how to use perspective and how to do environments and buildings. And, those are like technical things. But it also goes into philosophical or like conceptual things, like how to come up with an idea for your world, how to think about like what you might want to do for your project. What is the genre? What is the feeling you want to get across? What is kind of like the theme of your project? And those are all just as important as the technical aspects. If you're trying to plan a world, you want to understand to some extent what the objective is that you're going for. And so those kind of things are covered. It goes into, like I mentioned before, like if you have because a lot of people who are creating sketches are doing it, some of them are doing it for pleasure, for fun. Some people are doing it because they want to create like a personal project. And some people are creating sketches, of course, because they're working on a professional project. Everybody up to the highest level of production has to do sketches. There's a lot of disciplines where sketching is useful. So it also goes into things like if you're working on a professional project, like if you're doing a video game, if you're doing a short film, if you're doing an animation, here are the types of things you would want to focus on when you're doing that. Like here are the particular things that are really important about like making a comic book, for example, thinking about the compositions of particular panels in a comic book, or here's the things if you're doing um, a video game, here's the way that you would want to think about designing the characters, because the characters in a video game can be seen oftentimes from all angles. They're in a 3D space and you're able to move around that 3D space. So like thinking more about the different angles of those characters, things like that, really digging deep into like how to think about your project and how to plan your project. So I hope that answers your question, Pashi. That is a pretty long answer, but I think that I think you'll be really satisfied with the amount of subjects that it goes into in terms of actually building your world and telling stories through these pictures. Thank you again for that great question, Pashi. That is an excellent question. So
Yeah, yeah.
Kleiner has moved on. You can see here that we are already done with the first brainstorm sketch, getting that bird's eye view of this area of the world. And we're moving on to a second view here. And it's just amazing to see like the efficiency with which you're making these like brainstorms and just coming up with things. Can you talk a little bit, Kleiner? What is the area of the world that you are planning out here? What is this area?
I think it's same way like I did in the part 6, which I will post on our station. It's a kind of like a uh more like a vacation area.
Oh, cool.
There's a lot of visitor over there, so it gonna have a lot of entertainment place, like the bar, like something else, even like the barber shop. So I want to make this one feel more like just informative and just include a lot of things, but this the theme of this town is just kind of like a colorful, or the color is more, as how to say, it's more warm, I guess.
Yeah, it's like a
It's much
kind of like
warmer,
it
but
feels like a nice place to be. Like I know exactly
yeah,
what you
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
where it's
yeah,
like even if it's in black and white, you can see kind of like the warm sunset coming over it and like
yeah, yeah.
the nice
A lot of
feeling.
people there.
And that's an interesting
Yeah,
thing too, to
cause it,
just to run with that. Sorry, Kleiner, just 1 second. The one of the things that's covered in the course is that you talk about doing these black and white sketches and then planning for them to be something else, right? Where it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
you have a scene that you're making and you start saying while you're doing that brainstorm sketch, like, oh, I feel like I can see this being at sunset and I want this to have like a warm feeling, or I could see like when I'm doing this, there's a sketch that you guys have seen that's like of the barber shop, and it's beautiful, like kind of abstract sketch that's like showing different colors and amazing scenes from there, and then it has like all this great use of negative space. And you can see during the course, like thinking about during this brainstorm stage, Kleiner is just getting so many ideas and letting those kind of flow, and then saying like, okay, I might want to turn this one into into a color sketch. I'm going to make this one into like a cool character sheet. I'm going to write a story about this one. Is one of the things that Kleiner
yes,
does in particular is actually write stories about each of his sketches, which is that's like his personal style of like how to present them. And you guys saw some of those in the slideshow of the course. I'll cut over to that so that you guys can see it's randomized which pictures show up, but we'll see if we can see some of those pictures showing up here. And Kleiner actually writes stories about the characters and about the places in the world to kind of enrich those parts of the environment. And that's something particular to Kleiner's style. You don't have to do that if you take the course, but it is certainly a very strong conceptual thing to do. And the course kind of helps you to cultivate, not just to copy exactly what Kleiner's doing, but rather to come up with your own really cool ideas about like, how do I want to present my world, and the storybook style is one particular style, but there are many that you can choose from when you're doing the course. Evandro Marquez in the show here saying, this is exactly what we are looking for. I'm going to share this with my fellow mate who's starting. It looks very exciting and friendly for beginners. I'm really
yes, yes,
happy to
yes.
hear you say that. Um, So many nice words on today's show. I'm glad people are excited for the course. Thank you guys for joining the stream. Evandro Marquez, that's so nice of you to say, and really glad to hear that you're excited for it. It is very friendly for beginners. That was something I was really impressed by, is Kleiner's ability to kind of scale up his world. And the way that the lessons progress is in such a way that you can see kind of like in this slideshow, it's randomly showing different sketches. So it jumps from like advanced ones to beginner ones to starting ones. But the way that the course starts, it's a really, really unique workflow that is, it's such a simple thing that when I watched it, I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Like I love the way that he presented this, where we talk about it in the trailer that he does this macro to micro workflow, where the way that he establishes the world is to start with the first lesson shows you, all of the things about like how to plan your world and how to how to create your sketches and how to work on environments. And then you start with just a few sketches, but of the largest scale thing in your world, like the most zoomed out thing of your world. And as you go, you start planning out more and more detailed things as you keep going further in. So you start with the super wide shot, which of course has a lot of cool things in it, but it doesn't require that many details. And then as you go into lesson 2, you start planning scenes of like the city. So for example, in Kleiner's world, you could be making whatever kind of world you want. But for example, these scenes you see right here, you would do in lesson 2, where it's like looking a little closer at the city. And then there would be ones that look actually particularly at like a business in the city. Like, oh, here's what a merchant's stall looks like in the city, or here's what a bar looks like. So this picture you're seeing on screen right now, like here's what a bar looks like, looking even further, closer to the scene. And then the next step is to, after things like this, where it's like, here's what a school looks like in the city. The next step is to figure out, what do the characters look like? So looking even closer at it. So this picture you're seeing is a final one from the end of the course, but there would be things where it's like brainstorming, what does the character look like? What does their costume look like? And the great thing is that would be a character you had already kind of like placed in a basic way in your earlier shots, because it's like, oh, well, I have this picture of, this thing that you saw in the previous slide called like the birdhouse. What does this birdhouse character look like? Or what does the guy in the bar look like? Or what does the guy who's driving the boat look like? And then you start planning out. You can see here that he plans like not only the picture of the guy, but also like, what does his head look like? Let's get a detail shot of the like things on his coat. And these are all particular to exactly what, to the things Kleiner is creating. But what the course does is it allows you to use those same techniques to create whatever kind of world you're making, whether it's like fantasy, sci-fi, if it's like in under the ocean or something, it all applies to the same thing. And, then once you get into the last lesson, you start creating things like this, where you're finalizing your pictures and putting whatever kind of stylistic flourishes you would like to do on them. So, as you can see, Kleiner does that thing where there are those passages of text written about the characters, and it's laid out like it's on a storybook, and that's Kleiner's particular art style. And it allows you to kind of branch out and be like, okay, well, if I'm making whatever I'm making, I'm going to finish my stuff in this particular way. And so you can see this is another finishing style where it's like you can do a full plan of the type of environment, and it shows all the different details on a single page, which is super useful for planning like a larger project, like a film project or a game project or something. Things like this, where you have character sheets, great for animation and stuff, where you would need to fill a scene with different like NPC characters, and just like, oh, let me figure out who's going to be in the background of this shot. And you just have like a character sheet of like general citizens that you can, almost like having, models or something that you could just place into a scene. And there's so many different amazing things that it helps you with. And yeah, the way that the course starts from the beginning with that super basic concept, and moving slightly and slightly as you go further, always kind of trying to take you a little bit out of your comfort zone so that you're not like, too comfortable. It's like teaching you a new thing every time, but there's like a lot of great homework assignments as you keep going throughout to help you to kind of like continuously practice those skills and really just incrementally improve your sketching. It's really amazing. And Kleiner, we're going to jump back to look at your screen here.
All right.
So we're looking at another shot of the world, and I do want to just remind everybody what we're talking about today is KleinerHai's brand new Learn Squared course called Sketching Everything. You can find this on the Learn Squared site right now. It is available right now for pre-order, and you can pre-order this along with Kleiner's companion course, which is coming early next year. If you pre-order them both together, you'll get a 20% discount. So take a look at that as well. This is Sketching Everything. You can pre-order it along with Painting Everything. Kleiner's sketching course goes through a whole bunch of incredible subjects that I was just detailing a moment ago, showing off some of the finished products. And what you're seeing on screen here is Kleiner is actually doing a live demonstration for us of some of the early brainstorm techniques that you can do in the course. So these are some of the things that would be taught throughout lesson 1 and 2 to kind of like really loosen your mind and just get you thinking about like, okay, what does this part of the world look like? And one of the things that I think is so impressive in the course is the way that Kleiner allows the kind of like breaks you out of your comfort zone, or breaks you out of like your inhibitions. Like a lot of us might feel a little bit self-conscious about our sketches, like every sketch has to be perfect or has to a lot of them like will make it and crumble it up and be like, I don't want to show this to somebody or whatever. But this one kind of takes the perspective of like, okay, well, for the course, it's not like you're only creating one sketch, so it has to be like perfect. You're creating literally dozens of sketches throughout this course, and really just kind of like not worrying at this brainstorm stage. You're not worrying about like, is this like a perfect sketch? You're just saying like, okay, well, I'm gonna make this one and it's going to be one of like 4 sketches that fits on this page, and I'm not really going to worry about like how perfect this one sketch is. And I think that's so cool. Can you talk a little bit, Kleiner, about like the idea of how brainstorming helps you to arrive at your ultimate sketches or paintings that you do at the end?
Yeah. So brainstorming is just the early step, and you need to check a lot of references. And at this time, you're gonna do like think about what kind of element, what kind of style, what kind of quality of your word. That is a good chance to check a lot of references, and also can grow up your taste, I guess. And so after that, you'll take some elements, what kind of you liked it, and you put them together and start the brainstorm. Just pretty relaxed and think about the element that makes sense in this area. And after that, you put them in this one, and you go through to do a little bit refine and think about the character over there, what the gun looks like, and then you go check back if that still the element makes sense. And after that, the brainstorm gonna make sense.
Yeah, you know
So
what's...
it's
Oh, excuse me, Kleiner.
you go on.
Well, what's so important about that is, because I think that's a great aspect of this too, is that the way that the course works, after you've established, I talked about kind of the process of the course, and you're going from the biggest to the smallest things. One of the great things that happens is like you've created your landscape shots, you've created then your like closer environment shots, then you've decided what the businesses look like, then you've decided what the characters look like. And after that, there's a great section where it actually goes back to look at environments again that you've already created, but he calls them the environment explorations. And what you're doing there is, now that you know what the characters look like, you actually do specific shots to put those characters back into the environments you've created, but without just inserting them into an existing shot. So he actually goes in, and I'm going to go back to the thumbnail view here so I can show you some of these. We're just going to look at thumbnails from the course. These, for example, are shots of, knowing what some of the character designs look like and then figuring out a new scene in a certain environment that you could place them in. So if it's like here, you can see he like created this port idea already and he designed all the areas around the port and the different buildings. And then like, oh, what would people hanging out at the port look like? And he does these sketches to kind of like establish that. And so it brings it all full circle. Like looking at this, like what does the bar look like? Here's people on a couch in a VIP section, people drinking at a table, and really thinking more on a personal level. Like what is it like for the characters to live in this world? There's a lot of pictures in this course that like, instead of looking at a particular thing, like, this one, for example, is showing like, what does the merchant's stall look like? And that's super useful. But this one, instead of showing the school, this is a picture of the school, but instead of showing the school itself, it's showing like, what is it like to be at that school? What is it like to go to the school? A lot of these pictures focus more on, instead of being like, what does the merchant stall look like? It's, or even what does the merchant section of the town look like? It's saying like, what does it feel like to shop at the town, to shop in this town? So it goes totally full circle in kind of like exploring every aspect of these worlds. And so just to remind you guys, since we have this on screen anyway, I will remind you once again, the course is called Sketching Everything. Our new instructor, KleinerHai, is doing a live demonstration on today's show. We're also showing off the amazing wealth of finished products that came from this course. So go check it out on the Learn Squared site. You can get it for pre-order right now, and you can get it in a bundle, a pre-order bundle with its upcoming companion course as well about painting. So you'll get a discount if you get those two in the bundle together. Now, keep asking questions in the chat, guys. You had so many amazing questions on today's show, and it's so exciting to see the enthusiasm that everybody has for this course.
Right.
What we're going to be doing on today's show is Kleiner actually requested for me to handle a little bit more of the questions. We're going to let Kleiner focus a little more on the actual sketching on today's demo, and so that Kleiner doesn't have to field a million English language questions. I'll field some of those questions instead, which is why you're hearing me talk a little bit more on today's show than normal. But don't worry, I've of course seen the whole course, and I actually did the English language dub of the entire course. So when you take the course yourselves, you'll actually be hearing my voice a whole bunch. So I hope you like the sound of my voice. And so ask away with your questions. Either Kleiner will answer them or I might answer them, but have no fear. I certainly also know what I'm talking about. I hope I do. It's day to day. It changes. So we have a bunch of people in the chat saying, Pashi saying, just take my money. we appreciate that, Pashi. We've been working on this one for a long time. It is a lot of content, as you can see, a lot of sketches. We wanted to make sure that it was crafted well too, so that it was structured in a way that is very understandable and easy to follow for students. And of course, we made sure to do this whole English language dub so that it is like perfectly, it's a labor of love and is a lot of work, but I'm so glad that everybody's able to see it. And I'm glad that you guys are excited for it. Now, Scott Fassett in the show as well. Scott Fassett, excellent question as well. Looks like an amazing course. How do you approach drawing environments and architecture in perspective? Are you just eyeballing it or plotting it with specific vanishing points? And that's something that I can address here just to let Kleiner focus a little bit more on the art. I'm going to jump over to Kleiner's screen though here. Kleiner, we're going to look at, we're looking at Kleiner work on another one of these brainstorm sketches. But so that's actually a particular series of videos that features in the course is we go into, Kleiner is like at a point where he doesn't really need to use vanishing points very often and a lot of times eyeballs it, but we particularly make sure to go into the techniques of like how focal lengths work and how the different angles work and how to use vanishing points and all that stuff because we wanted to make sure that it was accessible to anybody and to people who don't know what a vanishing point is, for example, we make sure to explain that and like very particularly, kind of like give a tutorial about how that stuff works and also how to utilize it in your art. Um, and I think it's really important to also think about like what is the style of art that you're making? Like, does it sometimes it doesn't need to feel as true to life, which is can also be a really cool style. Like Kleiner talks about in the course sometimes that in his particular world, you saw it in the course pictures. Everybody wears these masks, and it's not necessarily based in any like real world environment that exists in our world. So there's kind of an element of fantasy to it that it allows him to play a little bit with like existing architecture and existing like human figures. Like they don't have to follow what would necessarily be true in the real world. And a lot of that stuff is it can contribute to the style that you're creating by choosing different methods for like doing your perspective and choosing focal length and vanishing points and stuff. So I think that that all of that stuff is really going to help a lot of beginners throughout the course. I hope that answers I hope that answers your question, Scott, and thank you for the
Yeah,
excellent
yeah, yeah.
question.
They're great.
Scott's also saying as well, it's great to see that characters feature so prominently in his environments. And that's something that's really striking about Kleiner's work. Kleiner has an incredible array of work that's been that he's created. Kleiner has this IP that's called On the Way that he's during this course, he actually is showing you how he did all of the sketches for one of the On the Way chapters that he's created. So he is really like doing a project that's like a full project, just like you would be doing during the course. And what's really striking about that that IP that he's created is that it's so personal. The IP that he's created and the type of story that he's trying to tell it's from the perspective of a kid who's like visiting these different environments within this larger fictional world. And it has these. I'm going to jump over to the screenshots of the course again. Like he's visiting this new place and he's like writing in his journal about all of the different things he's seen. Writing about the market that he joined and going to a festival on a certain day and seeing the merchant who had this like really cool costume and looking through the streets. Like all of these images would have like storyline attached, and it's all from the perspective of this child. So a lot of times, like in some of these pictures, you can see that they are like from human level. They're an environment, but they're focusing on like particular scenes of people doing things. And what I think is really cool is that Kleiner, you talk about this in the course where a lot of the things you like to focus on are not like huge action scenes or huge set pieces, but
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
a very small scene of people doing something kind of like normal. Like, oh, what does this look like when this person shops? Or what does it look like when this person like goes to get a boat at the harbor? Go to what does it look like when this person goes to the barber shop? And like
Yes,
those
more
sometimes those can
naturally.
be more compelling than a large scene. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I just really like make the sense feel naturally. And it doesn't mean I don't like the more action stuff it gonna have, but it's not everything gonna feel too strong or too too sharp or something. So what I like to do is the same thing over there is the kid just like do a daily record like what did he looking for and something else different element different area and he just record over there and it more feel like just in the person view see the word
Exactly.
because
Like
in
it's
the
very
person view
personal. The whole
yeah yeah yeah
project
yeah
feels like such a personal project, and the the way that the kid writes it, his stuff, it's all like very optimistic, and he's like, you're seeing it through his eyes. So like he's, oh, I had this great time at the market today, and Auntie told me that, oh, this guy works on like, he creates toys, and like we were so excited to see like it's a really cool world. And that all of this of course is part of Kleiner's particular style. You don't have to create something that is the same perspective or the same type of story, but you can get an impression of how sketches can contribute to that. And to circle back around to what you were saying, Scott Fassett, is that the having the characters feature so prominently is actually a really important part of the way that Kleiner kind of crafts his artwork. And I'm so glad to see that is as important to you as it is to us, because I think that's a huge part. You can see here one of the pages that the kid has written about the boatman, and there's all sorts of things that are shown throughout the course. So let's jump over, before we jump back into the demo here, I'll tell you one more time about the course here. We're talking about Sketching Everything, which is the brand new course from KleinerHai on Learn Squared. You can see the incredible wealth of images that have been created for this course. There are dozens, literally dozens of images that have been created. I think it's the most finished images that have been created for any Learn Squared course. And what he's teaching you to do in this course is just how to create sketches totally without any inhibitions, without feeling self-conscious, creating quick, efficient brainstorm sketches, and then turning those into beautiful, as you can see here, like colored sketches or value sketches or larger plans. So there's all sorts of stuff that's he's going over in this course. And before we jump back into the demo, let's show you the trailer. To anybody who's just joining the show, Sketching Everything is available on the Learn Squared site right now for pre-order, and make sure you go over there and check that out. We'll post another link in the chat so you can go to that link and get it for yourself. And in the meantime, let's take a look at the trailer for Sketching Everything.
What if you could plan out an entire world using sketches? Welcome to Sketching Everything. KleinerHai is a concept illustrator and designer with a talent for creating immense, sprawling worlds. In this brand new Learn Squared course, he's going to teach you his comprehensive techniques to define every aspect of a project through simple, easy-to-learn sketching. When building a world from scratch, quick and dirty brainstorming is the name of the game. Kleiner will help you to create not just singular drawings, but dozens of sketched images at a time, each defining different aspects of your universe. Using Kleiner's signature macro to micro workflow, you'll start with the largest establishing scenes and work your way down to the smallest personal moments. Throughout the course, you'll learn several finishing techniques for your sketches, including full line art scenes, value sketches, character sheets, color frames, and large-scale environment plans. Finally, you'll separately design close-up details like individual buildings or animals, even down to the doors and windows used in your world. By the end of these 4 lessons, your pencil will be able to move at the speed of your imagination. On top of that, Kleiner is currently hard at work on a second course, all about his painting techniques, set to come out early next year. Your next project awaits. All you need to do is sketch it to life. Sign up today at learnsquared.com.
Guys, Sketching Everything, you just saw the trailer there. You can, once again, as I mentioned, you can pre-order the course right now on the Learn Squared site. You can follow the link that we posted in the chat there to pre-order for yourself. Go check that out, guys. This is an incredible course. And you can see just how many sketches there are, all the way from beginner style sketches to the most advanced sketches. This covers everything and every subject that you can think of in terms of sketching. So take a look at that. Now, we have Kleiner on today's show doing a live demonstration of the sketching techniques in the course, which we're going to cut to in just a second. We also are answering questions on today's show, so post any questions you have. In order to kind of lighten the load on Kleiner a little bit, Kleiner's requested that I take some of the questions to answer myself. So of course, I've seen the whole course. I did actually I handled the English language dub of the course as well, so you'll be hearing a lot of me when you take the course on there. And you know, I'll be answering some of those questions as well. But of course, you know, having done the entire dub and gone through everything, I'm very knowledgeable about everything in the course as well. So let's jump into the feed of Kleiner's screen here and take a look at what Kleiner's working on. And while we're doing that, I'm just going to get another question in here. Pashi's saying, I've wanted to build a world so many times before, and I think that this course might be a good opportunity to once and for all jump into it. And that is amazing. I'm really glad to hear you say that. Building a world is a very intimidating process. You know, there's so many things to think about, and it can be hard to do it if you don't know where to start and you don't know what kind of world you want and how you're going to depict it. And I think that this course really is the perfect thing to help you do that. So being able to like really approach that world from the perspective that you want to, and being able to put it down on the page and just create so many things for it. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what everybody creates for the course. That's like one of the most exciting parts of doing these Learn Squared courses, is like seeing what the students have actually made from these courses. It's incredible. There's so many people who create these incredible images who were beginners before the course, before they took the course, and then the thing that they come out with at the end is just amazing. And a lot of times we do, for these courses, we'll do like student awards where we highlight people's work who we think is great, and we talk about work that we love and look into student work. And that's just, you know, we love how many people are creating all this amazing stuff. So we love to kind of like show our appreciation for everybody who's putting in their time and effort into these courses. And hopefully that answers a little bit. I'm noticing in the chat that Scott Fassett asked a related question. Good timing, Scott Fassett. Will there be instructor feedback? So those kinds of like student awards and events like that are the types of things that we do. It's not necessarily like moment-to-moment feedback, but rather like larger scale things where on our Instagram we'll highlight students, and we'll talk about students' work and things like that. And we have some things where we will go through and like particularly highlight students' work that we love. Sometimes on live streams, we've given away like awards sometimes. There's all sorts of fun things that we do. Scott Fassett also saying the characters function as compositional elements, which add so much to the environment. And that's something that Kleiner really makes sure to focus on a lot as well, is composition. You know, Kleiner, you've talked about in the course a few times how composition is, you know, if you had to pick like one thing that's like the most important thing that you're focusing on, it's always composition. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, because everything has composition. And also about the composition, you need to know that what kind of word that feel like, because a different scale or a different style of the different word, that means it's gonna looks different, and you need to think about the different composition like that. Like if you want to make the pretty cool stuff, maybe you need to do a shot feels more like wider and more cooler stuff. The composition also need to be pretty sharp. It's a important thing, and also it's the big thing. The small thing is what kind of different element over there in different stuff, like in different building over there. So each element, how they make feels great, it still needs a composition. And also you did cover art, how they make great, need composition. And I think that's why the composition is most important thing you did, like brainstorm, or did like final illustration, any stuff.
Yeah, I think that is when you're doing something and you're thinking about the compositions, it's really interesting to have to think about like you know, what is the feeling of this scene, and communicating the feeling of the scene through the composition is something that's talked about a lot in the course. You know, trying to get like getting a more dynamic composition to accentuate the more dynamic feeling of the scene. But it's not
Yes,
necessarily
yes.
going to be like a crazy dynamic, like fisheye shot of a guy like, you know, sitting in a chair or whatever, because like that doesn't communicate the feeling of the scene. And trying to do things, yeah, that like communicate that type of stuff, where, you know, if it's like a busy scene, you want to get a composition that accentuates how busy that scene really is. Or if it's a scene that's like very peaceful, you want the composition to feel more open and airy and peaceful. And you know, that's something that there's a lot of great little demonstrations. You can see it partly in the trailer where Kleiner will actually kind of break down his shots that he's done and like draw over it with a red pencil and, you know, point arrows for where things are pointing in the composition, really thinking about like where are we leading the eye, where are the points of most interest, like where are you looking first, where are you looking second. Those are all really important aspects of composition. And yeah, characters within a scene are another really important part of how you're composing that scene. And there's a lot of stuff in here too where it's like you're keeping a loose and kind of like inquisitive feel throughout the course, even up to the final lesson. Even when you're in the final lesson where you're actually like refining your pictures, you're still creating new sketches. Like there's still parts where you're brainstorming new sketches even during the refinement stage, and that's really to accentuate the idea that a person who's trying to create a world like this should never really feel like they're done, you know, because that world can have as many things as you want. And so the course tries to get you comfortable with the idea of like, you know, I'm not just like resting on my laurels and saying like, okay, now I'm like ready to refine all these pictures. But like, if you come up with another cool idea, you're going to put that down on paper. You know, you're going to start sketching that too. And I think that that's a really powerful aspect of that. And that ties back into like when you're creating these new scenes, like you're rethinking the compositions, and sometimes Kleiner will like change the amount of details on a part of the scene. And the fact that it is more detailed in this part of the scene now means that the composition, the weight of the composition has changed. And so now you're rethinking it. And it really helps you to understand how the different things you're putting in a scene are affecting your composition, and how to most easily utilize that. I hope that all of that it explains and you know, kind of addresses your comment. And thank you so much, Scott Fassett, for the excellent questions and observations. Pashy saying Kleiner is an exceptional artist. I'm very hyped with the course. I added the very. I'm hyped with the course. Thank you, Pashy. I'm constantly blown away by seeing what Kleiner what Kleiner is creating throughout these sketches that he's making. And as you can see here, we have four brainstorm sketches on the screen here that were created during the show.
Just say roughly stuff.
A brainstorm of a brainstorm, possibly.
Yeah.
And yeah, do you want to talk about kind of like what these different angles are, Kleiner? Like what are these new shots that we're looking at? What do you want to communicate with these new angles?
Yeah, the first one is just a normally top view. I guess look down to the crowd. You can see it more closer than the second one. And the second one is kind of like a far view, how the town looks like, how the street looks like. And you can see in the first one, we can check more on the different stuff, but in the second one, this is gonna be more like just a far view stuff.
More
And
focused
if I
on like
do
the
the final,
architecture, I guess.
yeah, more focus on the whole thing, I guess. And here we can do more design stuff. We can figure out a lot of stuff, new thing, get a lot brainstorm. And this one is just a normally different angle there. Look over, and you can see here is a kind of like a color glass over there. on the rooftop. And here is another building, and people just over here go through. It's more normally. And these two just feel informative. And all right, so we're gonna do the force.
So you'd say that it's more like two of them are like establishing shots that are like
Yeah,
establishing different things. One is more about, figuring out what the layout of this area is like. One of them is more about figuring out what the buildings and the scene itself looks like. And then this other one is kind of like a very particular angle showing, from like actually lower than a human view looking upwards, and possibly even like, let's say you were working on a film or something, that could be like something that's planning out a particular shot of that film or something, like a really cool angle of this world. And so we're going to be jumping into the next brainstorm sketch here. Do you want to share like anything about what you want to do with this next one?
So I think the next one I'm gonna just do like a person view, see more closer to the street. Seem like that, like this one, but I think the second one the flow is like same.
Okay.
It's more top view, but I don't want to use the same flow, so we just figured out another. Maybe
I'm
you
really
can get
excited to see it as you build it.
get some flow there, like this one, like here. You can see maybe there's some wall over there, and if you just look down, maybe like this, so the road gonna maybe look like this, and here. But I don't know. So let's try to get some new idea.
Yeah, and that's an interesting part of the process that is explored a lot in the course too, is like having a very rough idea of what you want to do with a brainstorm sketch, but not really committing to anything, because anything can happen. And it's a lot about kind of like finding cool ideas as you make the sketch, and then saying like, oh, I want to try and explore something with that, or either changing what you're about to make because you're like, oh, that would be a cooler idea, or saying like, okay, well, in the next sketch, I'll actually explore that thing, and it can kind of like compound on itself. And doing these brainstorming ideas can continuously add to kind of what your project is becoming. And it can turn into something that it becomes larger and larger, and gets more and more defined, because you're staying kind of like very inquisitive about what you want to create. And that's all about being like very loose at the beginning, and just kind of, planning things without being like self-conscious about what it is, or what the end result is going to be. Now,
Yes.
to anybody who is just joining the show, we are here. KleinerHai, our newest instructor on Learn Squared, is doing a live demonstration of the sketching techniques in his brand new course called Sketching Everything. And this is a course where he teaches you to really think on a macro scale and make just dozens and dozens of sketches really quickly, really efficiently, and just plan out every aspect of your world, from environments to characters to costumes to animals to props, and all the different things in your world you're going to be sketching, and learning all different kinds of finishing methods and all sorts of stuff. So we're seeing a live demonstration of these techniques on today's show. You can find the course right now at learnsquared.com. It is available now for pre-order. The course is coming out on October 13th, so get excited, guys, and get your pre-orders in so that you can be ready to go when the course comes out. Now, we are going to jump over here while Kleiner establishes this newest brainstorm sketch. We're going to jump over, for anybody who has not seen it yet, or who is just joining the show. We're going to take a look at the course trailer so that you guys can get a better picture of what everything is about. Let's take a look at the course trailer for Sketching Everything.
What if you could plan out an entire world using sketches? Welcome to Sketching Everything. KleinerHai is a concept illustrator and designer with a talent for creating immense, sprawling worlds. In this brand new Learn Squared course, he's going to teach you his comprehensive techniques to define every aspect of a project through simple, easy-to-learn sketching. When building a world from scratch, quick and dirty brainstorming is the name of the game. Kleiner will help you to create not just singular drawings, but dozens of sketched images at a time, each defining different aspects of your universe. Using Kleiner's signature macro to micro workflow, you'll start with the largest establishing scenes and work your way down to the smallest personal moments. Throughout the course, you'll learn several finishing techniques for your sketches, including full line art scenes, value sketches, character sheets, color frames, and large-scale environment plans. Finally, you'll separately design close-up details like individual buildings or animals, even down to the doors and windows used in your world. By the end of these 4 lessons, your pencil will be able to move at the speed of your imagination. On top of that, Kleiner is currently hard at work on a second course, all about his painting techniques, set to come out early next year. Your next project awaits. All you need to do is sketch it to life. Sign up today at learnsquared.com.
Guys, Sketching Everything is available for pre-order now on the Learn Squared site. Go check it out. Go get your pre-orders in. It's an amazing course. Kleiner has created an incredible wealth of content, all the way from like absolute beginner, the most early sketches, all the way through the advanced processes that you might want to use and finishing techniques. As you saw in the trailer, there are finishing techniques like this, like a character sheet that you might be planning for like an animation project or any kind of project. You can you finish your things as color sketches. You can finish them as value sketches, as environment plans, line art. All different kinds of finishing techniques are covered in this course. Large scale things like this, where you're seeing every part of a scene, excuse me, and seeing like what the little details look like, getting at a full color sketch of characters and scenes from your world. Everything is covered in this course. There's so much stuff that's covered in this course. Kleiner, you really did a lot of work on this course.
Yeah, and I hope these can help you guys just know a little bit about how to make a IP develop, I guess.
Yeah, like the amount of content that's created in this, and the way that it really helps you to kind of loosen your drawings and rethink the way that you're doing sketches to kind of make them so much faster and so much more efficient and so much more dynamic. It's just really incredible. And so on today's show, we have Kleiner. You just heard Kleiner right there. Kleiner is doing a live demonstration, which we're going to cut back to in just a second, doing a demonstration of the techniques that are featured in the course. So actually doing some sketches live for us. And Kleiner's requested, just so that you guys know, make sure that you ask questions in the chat. Let us know what you're interested to know about Kleiner's workflows or techniques or about the course itself. Ask away in the chat. We've had some incredible questions already. And if you guys want to know anything, make sure you post it in there. Kleiner's requested that I kind of field a few of the questions just to kind of lighten the workload of, let him focus on actually doing the sketching, and also just to not bombard him with a million English language questions. I'll be answering some of the questions as well, but have no fear, because I actually am the one who did the English language dub of the full course. So when you take the course itself, you'll actually be hearing my voice the whole time. I hope that you like hearing my voice. So we're going to jump back into Kleiner's feed here, and we're going to see this demonstration as it goes along. You can see he's progressed even more in this brainstorm sketch. It's looking awesome. Can you talk a little bit, Kleiner, about kind of like what you have here and what you have created so far?
Oh yeah, it is kind of like a coast over there and a road over here that people go through. Maybe here gonna be a closer person over here. Maybe here is the arcade. It's something really casual, because if I think too much about it, composition need to be need to be thinking a lot of informative stuff. The thing gonna be more, how to say, not feel relaxed, I guess, because I want to make that just feel easily to know. That's why I use this kind of like easy to and clear to know about the flow over here, like the
Yeah,
you
it's
can see.
like a composition that really leads the eye, and it gives you these characters who
Yeah.
kind of like allow you to the perspective starts, or rather the viewer's eye starts where the characters are and like moves along this track. And that's something too that Kleiner covers in the course. You saw it a little bit in the trailer, where he kind of draws those lines of the composition. And I talked about this a little bit, but like, you know, allowing the viewer's eye, like kind of controlling where the viewer's eye goes, is a really powerful aspect for any artist to think about. That's kind of like the main important aspect of composition is like, where is someone looking, and kind of trying to plan for where that person's going to look and optimize where they're going to look so that the best things are in the focal point, and you're making the scene kind of like detailed in such a way that the most detailed things are in the place you want them to look, and stuff like that. And creating these kinds of flowing things that like point in a direction are super powerful ways to handle your compositions.
Yes.
And so, Kleiner, could you do us a favor and show, maybe like expand your canvas and show like all the different sketches that you've made so far on the show, just like while we do the show? Because for anybody who's just joining, this is, I think, the
Right.
fourth sketch that Kleiner is doing.
the first. Yes. So here, this is the second one. This is the second one.
It's so impressive to
It's the
see
first.
all of this stuff get created live, and it really just goes to show you how keeping obviously keeping the details looser during this brainstorming stage and kind of just focusing on composition and planning out how the buildings and stuff are going to look from a larger perspective. But really, as you can see, being able to get a lot of information in there and get some really dynamic looking scenes into your project, it's so cool. So you can zoom in and keep working on that. I just wanted to get like allow people to see like a larger picture of what's been created so far on today's show, because it really is pretty incredible to watch you work. And of course, these are techniques, this kind of brainstorming process these are
Yes.
techniques that are
Yes.
featured earlier in the course, where you're really just planning out things for your world, and kind of it's almost like putting down visual notes for yourself. And
Yes.
as you go further through the course, you focus more and more on kind of like the refinement process, and like turning those brainstorm sketches into something that's tighter and more detailed, and eventually adds like finishing methods to it and things like that. And do you think maybe we would want to, I don't know if we have time, can we jump in and do a little bit of refinement on one of these?
Yes. Right. So let me just finish a little bit.
I'm pumped. I'm
More
excited.
roughly.
This is an awesome show. This has been amazing to see all of this stuff get created.
Right. So let me check on this one. So I could just pick the first one. Is that right? Is that
That's
cool?
perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So let's come out together.
And so one thing that I've noticed that Kleiner does throughout the course as well is to really be very lean with the amount of layers in Photoshop. Kleiner, you like to merge all of your layers and kind of simplify your stuff. That can you talk a little bit about that?
About layer.
Yeah, like working
think-
off of a small amount of layers and keeping things more compressed.
Yeah. I think for the simple thing, just need to know different layer 4 different elements. You can change the area, and then if you confirm about it, you just combine all together. And if you want to change whole thing or change like some effect or change all the contrast, maybe you need to combine all together, or you just use this one, the contract here. And yeah, that's what I like to use the layer scale, I guess.
I think that it's every artist has their own style with how they approach like using layers in Photoshop, and
Yeah.
a lot of artists like to keep like a million layers in their project and have like every little piece be on its own layer, and that is there's nothing wrong with doing that. Every artist has their own way of doing it, and each one is useful, but I think that keeping everything to be like constantly merging your stuff down into one layer and making it all simplified so that you can't really change each thing incrementally, it almost creates like a mindset where you are thinking about these sketches more as like pieces of something rather than like a finished work. So it allows you to
Yes.
kind of loosen up your mindset and think more about these things on the macro scale and say like, okay, well, it's not that important that this sketch be able to be like perfected immediately. I'm gonna go over, I'm gonna refine this later, so I don't need to like really worry about it. I can just kind of keep merging it, and I think that kind of exemplifies what the course teaches.
Yes.
Pashi saying here, looking at that earlier, looking at that screen of like the all the different sketches, just saying nice sketches, and thank you. Yeah,
Thank you, man.
thank you, Pashi. It's like as I haven't been able obviously to like share with anybody about this course until now, and I'm just so excited that you guys are able to see it, because like as I've been going through it and like doing the dub and narrating all the videos and stuff, and just watching Kleiner do what he does, like I've just been blown away every video, being like, oh my, like this is so cool. This is amazing. So I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. Scott Fassett saying, I'm all in. Thank you so much for this course. It's just what I need. After working in the animation industry for 27 years, mainly as a painter, now as a designer, thanks to your great techniques, Kleiner. So Scott Fassett kind of moving into the design process and using this for animation purposes. And that is awesome. Thank you so much for the kind words, Scott Fassett. And just to go off of
Thank
that,
you, man.
Kleiner, you talk about a lot of different animation projects in this course, and how to plan a project for animation through your designs.
Yeah.
The course goes into specific examples. It actually goes into a bunch of specific examples using a case study of Studio Ghibli's film Porco Rosso. I
Yes.
think in Chinese you mentioned that it was called The Red Pig.
Yeah. Right here.
I guess that's also what the name is in English, or in whatever. I guess it's French, maybe. But yeah, the like using that as a case study and looking into like how do they do the characters. Like of course in animation, like having a character sheet is really important.
Yes.
And figuring out what the characters look like in all the different costumes they're going to wear and what they look like from the different angles. And the course talks about like how to make sure that you're addressing the things you would need for an animation project, which might be different than things you would need for whatever, for a video game or for a movie, or live action movie, or a comic book or something else. And after that, it goes into looking into like what do the backgrounds look like and what do the main props look like. Obviously in Porco Rosso there's a lot of aviation stuff, a lot of planes, so it's really important to like define what that stuff looks like, and kind of figure those things out, because it's not, with animation there are a lot of particular needs that are unique to that form. And it's cool to see that as a veteran animation industry person, like that you are interested in kind of like branching out into a different field within that and taking the course. And we're really excited to see what you create. Don't forget, everybody who takes the course, make sure that you post your homework. There are reminders in the course as well, but like when you finish your homework assignments, make sure to post them on the Learn Squared homework gallery. We would love to see them. A lot of times, as I was mentioning before, like Learn Squared does like showcases of student homework that we think is great, and just showing off people's amazing work, and sometimes even doing those homework awards and things like that. So I'm really excited to see what you create. Pashi saying, well, guys, I have to go to sleep. It's quite late here. I will be probably buying the course tomorrow. That's amazing. Have a great day or night, or whatever part of the day you're in. Bye-bye. Have a fantastic night, Pashi. Thank you so much for joining the show. I know it's late for a lot of our viewers watching the show here. We're quite an international stream today. We are across the world. We started at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, and 10 a.m. China time, which is where Kleiner is calling in from. So we're very much like applying to many different schedules and stuff. And thank you to everybody who stayed up late to be on our show today and be a part of the show and ask all these amazing questions. And thank you so much to Pashi for being a part of today's show.
Yes, thank you, man. And have a good night.
And so we are looking at the refinement process here of this scene. And as you can see, what Kleiner did was, to lower the opacity of the original brainstorm sketch and just kind of go in and start adding smaller, more refined aspects to those scenes. And sometimes in the course, like a finished image will have multiple passes at the refinement stage, for different purposes. Like, for example, if you're creating a color sketch, there will be the original brainstorm sketch, there will be a character sheet for somebody who's in that color sketch, then there will be like a refinement pass for the line art, and then there will be like the part where you actually like start to add color. And the addition of color also, as I was mentioning before, the course really tries to teach you to not like rest on your laurels. So even while you're adding color, we make sure to like emphasize that it's not just like, at that point, it's not just like a coloring book where you're just like filling in the sections, but you're still changing the designs a lot of times during the color stage, and altering the composition and adding line art details in color and things like that. So it's a course that really opens your mind to the ability, to allow you to sort of like think on this kind of like this more inquisitive scale where you're always thinking about like, what's another cool thing I can add. And that's super useful to the creative process. Like the worst thing an artist can do is to get complacent with their stuff, and it can be really hard. We've all been there, where there are times when it can be really hard to come up with ideas and really kind of like spark your creativity. And ultimately, creativity is, a lot of times, it is more of a discipline than a kind of like supernatural, muse striking you type of situation. It is more of like, okay, well, there are a lot of times in the course actually where Kleiner makes sure to mention, oh, during this part, I actually didn't really have any ideas, and I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just started like, for example, during the refinement stage, I just started like going over the lines that I had and maybe adding a couple of little extra things to it. And as I went, it allowed me to like really kind of figure out some cool ideas that I didn't even have when I was going into that process. And so, it's super important to just like stay the course and keep creating even when you don't feel like you're inspired, because inspiration a lot of times can be something that comes with just doing, just working. Like if you do the work, it just comes afterwards. And I thought that was really profound, the way that Kleiner shows that in the course. And it's almost like very vulnerable, where the instructor is telling you, this is a moment in the course when I did not know what to do. and I just kept working, and I eventually figured it out. And I think that for somebody who's trying to learn, that's one of the most important things to know, is that like even a professional at the highest level is in the same boat that we're all in, and this is how they solve that problem. So yeah, I'm so impressed by the things that are covered in this course. Hanza in here saying, thanks so much. Thank you, Kleiner. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, man.
And it's
I
really,
just try my best.
well, your best is, it's amazing. And thank you. It is like the course has so much content in it. It is packed with techniques and ideas and all these finished images. I'm actually going to cut over to, I hope you guys will forgive me for cutting away from Kleiner's demo for a second. But I'm going to cut over to these shots so that you guys can see the different images that are created from the course, all the way from the early brainstorm things like you're seeing throughout these. Like these are some of the early brainstorm images that came from the course, where, you know, he's doing the same stage that we saw during the stream today, where you're kind of just coming up with ideas for things and keeping it loose. And then the course goes all the way from those early brainstorm sketches to finished images of either line art or color sketches like you see here, or character sheets. And it really has something for everybody. So, you know, there is a whole lot of stuff that's covered in this course, and I really thank you, Kleiner. It's amazing.
It's my job to do that.
Well, there you go. That's a heck of a good work ethic. Now, guys, the course we're talking about here is called Sketching Everything. You can see the name at the bottom of the screen there. I'm going to post a link in the chat so that everybody can check out the course for themselves. You guys can pre-order Sketching Everything right now on the Learn Squared site. It is coming out on October 13th. So make sure you get your pre-orders in. You'll get a little early bird discount for getting in there. So make sure you get your pre-orders in for the course. It is such an incredible course. There's so many great techniques, and all the techniques apply from the earliest beginners to absolute experts. Everybody has something they can learn from this course. We're going to jump into here. Before we go back to Kleiner's demo, let's take another look at the trailer for anybody who is just joining the show, and learn a little bit more about the course and see kind of the breadth of content being created. So let's jump into that trailer and take a look at Sketching Everything.
What if you could plan out an entire world using sketches? Welcome to Sketching Everything. KleinerHai is a concept illustrator and designer with a talent for creating immense, sprawling worlds. In this brand new Learn Squared course, he's going to teach you his comprehensive techniques to define every aspect of a project through simple, easy-to-learn sketching. When building a world from scratch, quick and dirty brainstorming is the name of the game. Kleiner will help you to create not just singular drawings, but dozens of sketched images at a time, each defining different aspects of your universe. Using Kleiner's signature macro to micro workflow, you'll start with the largest establishing scenes and work your way down to the smallest personal moments. Throughout the course, you'll learn several finishing techniques for your sketches, including full line art scenes, value sketches, character sheets, color frames, and large-scale environment plans. Finally, you'll separately design close-up details like individual buildings or animals, even down to the doors and windows used in your world. By the end of these 4 lessons, your pencil will be able to move at the speed of your imagination. On top of that, Kleiner is currently hard at work on a second course, all about his painting techniques, set to come out early next year. Your next project awaits. All you need to do is sketch it to life. Sign up today at learnsquared.com.
Guys, Sketching Everything is available for pre-order right now on the Learn Squared site. Scott Bassett saying, do you know approximately when the painting course will be available? So you guys saw, thank you, Scott Bassett, for the question, by the way. You guys saw in the trailer there talking about the incredible wealth of content that's in this course about sketching. And as you saw at the end of the trailer, there's also another course that Kleiner is working on to expand your skill set into painting, and either to create paintings from scratch or to use the sketches that you created during the sketching course and turn those into paintings, which is also, as you saw during the clips for the painting course, an incredible bunch of content. And just like in the sketching course, Kleiner created an insane amount of paintings for the painting course. So and is still working on it. So it's just, you're gonna love it. As far as when the course is coming out, we don't have the date set, but it is going to be early 2024 is what we're saying. So I guess you'd call that Q1 of 2024. So keep your eyes out for that one, guys. Of course, as you saw in the painting course, there's a lot of paintings that are being created, and they're all really, really amazingly detailed. So it's going to take some time to kind of craft that course and make sure that it's all perfected. But keep your eyes on that, out for that sequel course coming out next year. And I do want to mention that you guys can, right now, in addition to pre-ordering Sketching Everything, you can also get a bundle right now. That's a pre-order bundle of Sketching Everything along with Painting Everything, which is the painting course. You can bundle those together, and that's going to give you an even bigger discount by bundling them now. So if you guys are interested in kind of taking that full journey of the sketching process and the painting process, you can get that Kleiner bundle on the Learn Squared site right now. If you go into the YouTube video's description, you can see a link directly to that bundle if you want to check that out. Thank you, Scott Fassett, for the question. Oh, Scott's saying, cool, thanks. There you go. Glad that we can answer that for you. We are on today's show, guys, talking about Sketching Everything. We have KleinerHai here on the show doing a live demo, which we're going to cut back to in just a second. KleinerHai is doing a live demo of all of the various sketching, the sketching techniques featured in the course. He's already done 4 brainstorm sketches on today's live stream and is working on a refinement sketch. A lot of content, a lot of content. You can see that the techniques in the course really work. Now,
yes,
Kleiner is creating an incredible amount of stuff, and Kleiner's requested that in order to kind of lighten the load a little bit and let him focus on creating the artwork, I'm going to field a little bit more of the questions and do a little bit more of the talking. But have no fear. Make sure you ask your questions in the chat. I'm totally equipped to answer them as well. I was actually the one who did the English dub of the entire course. So when you take the course, it's going to be my voice speaking for Kleiner. So I know, all of the things in the course as well. I can answer that stuff as well. So we're going to jump back into it here and keep looking at the picture here. Kleiner is working on the refinement sketch of this brainstorm sketch that he was doing earlier. So as you can see, just kind of like the way that you described it in the course is that you're kind of like when you're doing these refinements, you have a lot of indications of what the various things are, but they're not like figured out during the brainstorm section. So a lot of times you're kind of taking the time to just look at each individual little area and just kind of say like, hey, okay, if I was going to I can add the outlines to this part, but what little extra thing can I add to make it a little bit cooler? And as you can see here, as he's going, Kleiner is just kind of doing that, where it's like looking at each section, just thinking a little bit like, let me take a minute to think about this section and just kind of expand on what I had in the brainstorm sketch. And once you do that and compound that to the full picture, it becomes a way cooler picture than you originally thought it was going to be. Every time one of these pictures gets refined in the course, I'm always like, whoa, that's amazing. That was a lot more than I expected. And that's just the magic of, trusting the process and trusting in your imagination. A lot of us get caught up in, and this is something that's gone over in the course as well a lot, is like a lot of us can get caught up in the kind of like pre-sketching process where it's like we outthink ourselves and we think too much, and then we don't end up making the sketch because a lot of people feel like they need to, everybody's been there, where it's like you feel like you need to have the inspiration first and then you do the sketch. And Kleiner kind of teaches you like, no, maybe you just start the sketch and you create whatever you've created. and the inspiration comes as you're sketching, and it might even come during the second or the third phase. And it's not like a traditional way of thinking about sketching, but rather to help everybody get more comfortable with themselves and more comfortable with their own style. And I think that that's so important for any kind of artist. Because even a lot of experts, like might be really used to making high detail sketches of a particular scene, but might not be able to create the amount of sketches in as quick an amount of time as are shown off in this course. So it really has something for everybody to be able to dig into and explore. So what we have here, can you talk a little bit, Kleiner, about like what you're choosing to refine and how you decide on what's going to be refined in your scene?
Right. So just go through everything, and if I'm not clear or if I'm not sure that still looks good, not pretty awkward there. I just gonna pick that area to think about the scale, think about the main shape, I guess, and do some brainstorm. Just kind of like a recheck. If I clear or if I confirm that don't need to do more design, I just do more detail about that. If I need to think that maybe the design need to be changed, so I just pick that. Just do a little bit brainstorm, think about the shape at first. If I think there has a lot of detail there, so I gonna need to think about, is there something element like this or like this? Different decoration stuff on the wall, or something like the window over there, maybe like this, or maybe like the circle one.
Yeah, like every little piece of that world can contribute to the feeling of the scene.
Yeah.
And you've talked about in the course as well, like choosing reference and that being a really important part of how you kind of like build up your ability to do these sketches, and understanding that there's a few things about the kind of like pre-production process that's I think is really interesting, is like choosing reference not based on the kind of project you're trying to create, but rather based on things that inspire you. So like, for example, a lot of beginners, if they want to sketch like a steampunk world, they'll only pick steampunk references, and that can kind of like hamper your ability to come up with really original ideas. But Kleiner kind of shows how he will pick references not for the theme, but rather just like looking through for tiny little aspects that are inspiring, no matter what the genre of the picture is, and kind of helping
Yes.
people to get outside of that typical type of reference that they might be picking out. And in addition to that, thinking about like how can you, like, even if your world is steampunk or if it's sci-fi or fantasy or something, there are still elements even in the best fantasy or sci-fi or whatever franchises that are picking things from the real world. So you don't have to make, like, just because your project might take place outside of like our world, there are still a lot of inspirations that you can take from the actual world that we live in. Things that are kind of like interesting looking when they're placed in a different environment and placed among other things might be exactly what you're looking for. So like in Lord of the Rings, for example, there are a lot of elements that pull from, even though everything is fantasy and everything has been created from scratch, a lot of the inspirations for things are pulled from real world things. Like, in Rivendell or something, there will be like things that look like Greek statues or something, or there's a lot of things that are pulled from like existing cultural touchstones, and Kleiner shows how to utilize really interesting architecture and interesting things to pull for your reference. And as you can see on his screen on the left, there are a few really cool reference pictures that just kind of help to allow him to get inspired for these pictures.
Yes.
And one other thing that's really interesting too is like when doing this refinement picture and creating the refinement for that building that he's working on now, that's that building near the top of the frame. In order to kind of like better understand what the building is and what the architecture is, you can see that Kleiner also created just like a totally separate picture from a different angle of that building, which is
Yes.
on the right. If you could you just show that one off for a second, Kleiner?
This one?
That extra picture on the right? Yeah, so like that one is not even a picture that would like exist within this frame. It's from a different angle, but it informs Kleiner about the building that he is trying to make, and it allows you to understand, I guess, like the architecture and the design and the shapes. And that just goes to show how like this course is really allowing you to think outside the box and like not just worry about like completing the image you're making, but just like being able to sketch in order to like think. You're like thinking in sketches basically, and you know there's no limit to the amount of sketches that you're making.
Yeah.
So I love also in a lot of your sketches you do really powerful compositional idea where you allow some things to go past the edge of the frame to like break out of the edges of the picture. In this one you can see it in that tower that's coming out of the building on the top right, and in a lot of the finished images from the course you can see that as well. I think it's a really powerful compositional element. I'm going to cut over to some of the pictures from the course. Can you talk about that, Kleiner, about how you like to kind of create these dynamic edges for your pictures, where it's not just a square or a rectangle, but rather there are sometimes things that kind of peek outside of the frame.
Yeah. There's I think it's years ago or 2 years ago, I found that some old kind of art book style, they just not do just one painting in the one page, and they also have some words over there, some text, and they need to think about the composition for the text area, and also they need to know that the whole thing, the whole page cannot limit the picture, limit the illustration, and that breaks the limit and also make that feel more soft, I guess. It's not too straight, and that's gonna make the whole thing feels pretty, that's pretty comfortable for me. So I pick this composition and I just do each painting. After that, I think about how to make that adding with the texture, adding with the text can make more comfortable.
Yeah, I
So
think that
sometimes I need to break the line. Sometimes just, for example, like just the whole page like this. Maybe I just break the line over here. Maybe this one is not, but I can add in some text over here. But it's just for the art book style. And that's what I think. So
yeah, I just think that's a really powerful choice. And of course, that is another thing that is particular to Kleiner's style. And again, the way the course works is that like it's not necessarily teaching you to like imitate what Kleiner's artwork looks like, because that is not going to help you necessarily to become a better artist. But what it's going to do is help you to use your own artistic style to express this huge range of images in the same way that Kleiner does. And a lot of the assignments are geared towards that and towards kind of like applying the concepts that are taught in the course, but not necessarily like following the same subject matter or the same like artistic choices. And it's so inspiring to see like how defined Kleiner's kind of like personal style is with this storybook idea and the way that the things are planned out on a page, and having these kind of like very playful compositional elements that will either create like an abstract feel for a part of the page so that the text can live there, or like the details will sometimes like fade away when it gets closer to where the text is going to be, and it's just so cool to see, you know, that process in action. And I hope that you guys, as you're taking the course, will think about, like, you know, if you're a beginner, you might not have an established style yet, but as you continue making more sketches, you'll notice that your style will start to show itself. And I hope that you'll kind of like keep that in mind and allow that to sort of peek through, you know, and that you'll cultivate that and nurture it as you go. Yeah, it's the amount of content that this course is creating and also asking you to create is incredible. And what's so cool about it is, like, it seems like oh man, how am I ever going to create that many sketches? But of course, it allows you to, you know, a lot of stuff. There's like extra credit for people who feel more confident, and it, you know, not everybody has to do the same amount of sketches. But it really does open up your mind to allow you to think more about making these kinds of like large amounts of sketches, and it makes you surprisingly comfortable, surprisingly quickly with making these like very fast sketches. And you know, that is truly a gift, because I know for a lot of us it is pretty tough to you know, start with a blank page and come up with something, you know, like to just like build something out of nothing. And
Yes.
and that is what this course is all about, just starting with a bunch of different blank pages and just going and making something really fast. And not worrying in the moment about like, how perfect is this? Like, is this going to be, can I take this to the final? Can I turn this into a painting? Can I give this to a client? Like, just thinking for now about like, let me see where this goes. You know, it might be something, it might not be something. I'm not going to worry about it yet. But I'm just going to let it play out. And as that continues, like, it keeps turning into something more and more interesting. And eventually you'll find that it is something great. Cyberbose posted a heart in there. Cyberbose, thank you for the love. Let's post a little. What kind of heart emojis do we have on? Oh, they got some pretty cool ones on YouTube. I'm always, for anybody who's watched these live streams before, I'm always like fascinated by the different emojis they have on these on the YouTube like keyboard or whatever. I've I'll take any opportunity I can get to post some emojis on there. So Kleiner, you have in there, you've created 4 brainstorm sketches. You've created,
Yes.
You're creating this refined sketch. You've created a detail sketch of one of the buildings.
Yes, but it's just a little bit refined, I guess. It's not too much informative.
It is an amazing amount of content that's been done on today's show. This is so cool. And we're gonna let's talk about the course one more time for anybody who might just be joining here at the end. We're going to be closing out the show soon. But the course we're talking about here is KleinerHai's brand new course, Sketching Everything. And Kleiner's been doing a live demo on today's show, showing off all the sketching techniques featured in the course. The course covers a huge amount of styles and a huge amount of finishing techniques and a huge amount of different images to make for your project. You're going to be able to plan out an entire world using sketches, and that goes from environments to characters to costumes to props to small little details, you know, all different things in color, things using line art, things using value, a huge swath of things, all the way from beginner brainstorm sketches like this, all the way to kind of fully refined planning pages like this that show all different aspects of an area. It's an incredible course. Kleiner's done a huge amount of work on this course, and it certainly shows. So guys, you can pick up this course right now on learnsquared.com. The course is called Sketching Everything. It is available right now for pre-order. It is going to be coming out on October 13th, and we're so proud to be announcing it for the first time on today's show. Make sure you guys get your pre-orders in. You'll get a early bird bonus for doing that, or an early bird discount rather for doing that. And you can, if you want to get the full kind of like the track of going from sketching all the way into painting, Kleiner is working on coming out early next year a second course that is all about painting as well, which you can get a discount for getting the bundle of those 2 pre-orders as well. So go check that out, guys. Sketching Everything is on the site. I'm going to show the trailer one more time. Let's take a look at that course trailer for anybody who is just joining the show, or if you just like watching the trailer. Let's take a look.
What if you could plan out an entire world using sketches? Welcome to Sketching Everything. KleinerHai is a concept illustrator and designer with a talent for creating immense, sprawling worlds. In this brand new Learn Squared course, he's going to teach you his comprehensive techniques to define every aspect of a project through simple, easy-to-learn sketching. When building a world from scratch, quick and dirty brainstorming is the name of the game. Kleiner will help you to create not just singular drawings, but dozens of sketched images at a time, each defining different aspects of your universe. Using Kleiner's signature macro to micro workflow, you'll start with the largest establishing scenes and work your way down to the smallest personal moments. Throughout the course, you'll learn several finishing techniques for your sketches, including full line art scenes, value sketches, character sheets, color frames, and large-scale environment plans. Finally, you'll separately design close-up details like individual buildings or animals, even down to the doors and windows used in your world. By the end of these 4 lessons, your pencil will be able to move at the speed of your imagination. On top of that, Kleiner is currently hard at work on a second course, all about his painting techniques, set to come out early next year. Your next project awaits. All you need to do is sketch it to life. Sign up today at learnsquared.com.
Guys, Sketching Everything, you just saw what the course is all about on that trailer. Once again, you can find the course at learnsquared.com right now. You can pre-order it on the site. It's going to be coming out on October 13th. Go check it out, everybody. It has techniques all the way from beginner to advanced. It shows you how to create a huge amount of sketches in a much faster amount of time than you would have ever imagined. So let's jump back in to look at Kleiner's screen here and see kind of the finishing touches on this on Refinement sketch.
Yes, so they're almost done, I guess, because the whole flow, I almost get that. If I need to do more detail, I can just start the concept step. It's not just only the brainstorm can include. And also, if I do the next step and also did the refine and the painting step, I still gonna check back if that design makes sense. Maybe you're gonna redo the brainstorm, maybe not.
Yeah, so that's an interesting part of what's in the course is like a lot of times you're sketching in order to make a like very nice looking sketch, which is your final product. And then a lot of times you're sketching in order to plan for a different final product. So like you might be sketching in order to like turn into a client, give this to a client that's like, you're working on a film or something, or you might be making a painting, or you might be making like a CG scene and you're sketching in order to plan that out. And all of those things have different like objectives that you might have that you would want to use to like figure out what those things are. And the sketching process, as Kleiner shows through like in the final lesson where he's refining things, he's still doing brainstorming sketches even during that like refinement part. So it really is like a super important skill to have to be able to do these like quick brainstorm things and then refine on top of them and add layers of refinement until it becomes the finished image. So like you were mentioning, Kleiner, like from this point, from doing this like initial refinement, this would be after this you would work on like you would move on to the next stage where you would then like add like the final line art, or you would add like the final, like you would start like add color to it or do something else to it. And as you guys can see from the process on this course, the iteration process goes very quickly.
And I think this one also. I don't know, am I need to add these trees? I just try to add something casually.
And that's the fun thing about doing this process is like you can really, you know, kind of experiment with things and do whatever you want with it, like and kind of
Yes.
just really explore. And so now that we're coming to the end of the process here, Kleiner, would you be able to kind of maybe expand your canvas and show us all of the different sketches on like one page?
All right,
It's really
so
incredible how much
I
content.
uh let me think about the areas here. This one.
So all during
And
today's live stream in this past broadcast, while answering questions, while doing other stuff, Kleiner has completed essentially the first two steps of his sketching process involving creating a set of brainstorm sketches and then moving in to refine one of those sketches, and has even added some extra details like the image of the building on the side, which doesn't even fit into the picture necessarily, but just it expands your understanding of what that scene is like and what that scene looks like from another angle. And that's just incredible. Can we get like once you're finished adding things, Kleiner, like I would love to do like if you could zoom into each of these images and just kind of like show them off for a minute.
yes.
Um,
Um, what I gonna do?
just to zoom in and look at each of these pictures, or to even
Right.
see,
So
yeah,
the first one is here. It's pretty roughly. So what I like to do the brainstorming is just like if I get there, if I get what I want to do, I just stop. And then about the detail or about a lot of things is just put them to the next. It's not the first brainstorm. At this step, I just feel relaxed to do everything. If I think maybe this one maybe looks weird, maybe I just delete that, or maybe I just change a lot. So, and yeah, so that's what I did. The second one is here. You can see it's pretty roughly.
and it's so interesting because you're using like broader brushstrokes and you're using like simpler lines and things, but when you zoom out, you can really see like what your idea for the composition is, and like the details start to come together in your head. You know, like these brainstorm sketches, even though they're less detailed than like the final sketches are going to be, they inspire you to think a lot about the details,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
almost like imagine the details before they're added.
Yeah. For
Um,
me, it's a important thing because if at the early step you think that too much and you confirm too much, then sometimes you're gonna just limit yourself.
yeah, exactly. Like you don't want to be like locked into an idea when you're still in the
Yeah.
decision phase.
Yeah. That's
Um,
why I don't really like to do the brainstorm too fast. Too finalist or too complicated.
yeah, just to kind of like allow yourself to, yeah, like stay free and stay loose. I think that's great.
Yes.
And I think that this whole course is going to really open a lot of people's eyes to help them with a lot of the most difficult parts of sketching for many people, which is not only the technical aspect, but also how to come up with what to create and how to consistently create interesting ideas, which is very difficult for a lot of us at various points in our artistic journeys. And so it's just an incredible course. The course, guys, is called Sketching Everything. Once again, the content created even just on today's live stream is amazing. We have Kleiner did for us a demo of essentially the first two stages of his sketching process, which is the four sketches on top, which are the brainstorm sketches, early, quick, iterative ideas on a particular area in his world, all from different angles. And then the bottom left is like a refined version of one of the brainstorm sketches that he did earlier. And then on the right is an extra detail sketch of one of the buildings that was in the refined sketch. So like just going further and further to look closer at that world and see it from different perspectives and different levels of detail. And that's what this course is all about, is really just helping you to loosen up and see your world in a more complete way. I'm going to cut over to the slideshow now. Thank you so much, Kleiner, for doing the demo. It's been amazing. And just so everybody knows, we're going to be adding, Kleiner's been recording this video locally on his computer, so we're actually going to add the kind of like uninterrupted full process video that he's been recording here to the course as bonus content. So you'll be able to watch it, you know, without us cutting away to the trailer or talking over it and stuff. And you can just watch his full process that he's been doing on today's stream when you get the course yourself. So this is some of the content that actually came from the course. There is a huge amount of sketches that he shows how to make in this course. It's the most amount of finished images that is created for any Learn Squared course. In total, 38 sketches have been created, showing all the way from either like early brainstorming sketches like this, kind of like planning out the scene, to the refined sketches, to line art, to color sketches, value sketches, these kinds of like large scale environment plans. You can see a value sketch on the top left there. All kinds of different sketching finishing methods and different levels of difficulty and different levels of proficiency, and kind of helping you to just improve your skills no matter what level you start at. It's an amazing course. You guys can find it on the Learn Squared site right now. We're so proud to be able to announce it to you. Today is the first time anybody's been able to see the course, and we're glad that so many of you guys have been excited about it and have shown so much interest in it and asked so many great questions. Thank you guys so much for your incredible questions and for your excitement about the course. We're really excited to see what you make. So make sure you guys go to the Learn Squared site, get your pre-orders in for Sketching Everything. If you pre-order, you'll get, of course, that early bird discount that we offer. And Kleiner has been hard at work in addition to this course, if you can believe it. There's so much work done for this course, but he's also hard at work on another course about painting, which is gonna help you guys with a whole different skill set of things. And we actually have a pre-order bundle for both courses together for anybody who wants to take both courses. That painting course is going to be coming out early next year, so keep an eye out for it. But I think you will more than have your hands full with Sketching Everything for quite a while, because there's plenty of content to go through and there's so much amazing stuff to create. So thank you so much, Kleiner, for being here and creating this course and being on this live stream. Thank you so much, Kleiner.
Thank you, man. Really glad to be here.
And
actually, my first time to stream.
First time on a live stream is amazing, and you did an incredible job. And the amount of artwork you created on today's stream is just staggering. Thank you so much.
Hope you guys like that. And yeah.
And to everybody who joined on today's show, thank you so much. I just want to do a quick shout out to some of the people who have been a part of today's program. Alejandro de la Cruz, thank you so much. Pashi, Evanjo Marquez, Life 2, thank you guys so much. Scott Fassett, a lot of incredible questions on today's show as well. Han Zaw, Cyberbose, a lot of people showing a lot of excitement, a lot of love, and asking some incredible questions. Thank you so much. I hope you guys all love the course when you get your hands on it, and we will see you next time. So to close it out, let's jump back into that course trailer and take a look at it one last time. Have a fantastic night, everybody. Thank you for joining. Bye-bye.
Night, everybody.
What if you could plan out an entire world using sketches? Welcome to Sketching Everything. KleinerHai is a concept illustrator and designer with a talent for creating immense, sprawling worlds. In this brand new Learn Squared course, he's going to teach you his comprehensive techniques to define every aspect of a project through simple, easy-to-learn sketching. When building a world from scratch, quick and dirty brainstorming is the name of the game. Kleiner will help you to create not just singular drawings, but dozens of sketched images at a time, each defining different aspects of your universe. Using Kleiner's signature macro to micro workflow, you'll start with the largest establishing scenes and work your way down to the smallest personal moments. Throughout the course, you'll learn several finishing techniques for your sketches, including full line art scenes, value sketches, character sheets, color frames, and large-scale environment plans. Finally, you'll separately design close-up details like individual buildings or animals, even down to the doors and windows used in your world. By the end of these 4 lessons, your pencil will be able to move at the speed of your imagination. On top of that, Kleiner is currently hard at work on a second course, all about his painting techniques, set to come out early next year. Your next project awaits. All you need to do is sketch it to life. Sign up today at learnsquared.com.